Hello everybody, Gavin McCormack here. Welcome back. We are in Antarctica and we are very lucky to be joined by Bia. Hi.
Hi.
It's Mia Hanselkohl, who is a marine biologist. Now this week, we've been sailing down from Cape Horn in the southern tip of Argentina all the way to Antarctica, and we have finally arrived here on the peninsula. And this week we're talking all about humpback whales. And we have seen so many humpbacks on the way down here swimming alongside the ship, under the water, hunting, eating krill. Why are there so many humpbacks here in Antarctica, Bia?
Well, because it's their home. There should be many of them down here. And the reason why we say that we're seeing many here, it's probably because you're comparing to some other time where there weren't many.
Right.
Whaling industry took place in Antarctica in the early 1900s, and a lot of the humpback whale populations were depleted during that time. So obviously we started seeing less of them for a whole bunch of decades, and now they are starting to bounce back and repopulate this area.
Right, but before we get into the whaling industry, why do they come down to this region? Why is it so attractive? Do they come from South America and come to Antarctica? Do they migrate? And if they do, why do they change locations?
So humpback whales are migratory whales. They do make use of tropical waters to breed. So they mate and they give birth in warmer waters. The calves, when they're born, the blubber layer, the fat layer, is not so thick that they could endure the cold of Antarctica straight away after being born. So they have a few months with their moms to fatten up before they make it to Antarctic waters. So then the moms can feed and be strong again.
So they come all the way to Antarctica, and when they get here, what do they eat? What's their main diet?
So the largest of all the animals that inhabit this planet feeds on some of the smallest of the animals. They feed on krill.
Krill.
The krill is a little crustacean. The scientific name of the preferred krill by the whales is Euphausia superba. That's the Latin name.
Wow.
And they eat them in abundance. In Antarctica, everything feeds on krill or feeds on something that feeds on krill. So they are really the size of the show down here.
Right.
So seals feed on krill, whales feed on krill, and also seabirds feed on krill.
Wow, they're really everyone's favorite meal.
Meal, exactly.
And I understand there's around about 700 trillion krill down here in Antarctica. That's a lot of krill.
There's a lot of krill. Yeah, regarding biomass, these guys take the crown. So they are truly the stars of the show. But obviously, they are down here because they too need to feed. So to be able to be food, they need to feed.
Yeah.
And they feed on phytoplankton, they feed on diatoms. And in summer months, there are big blooms of diatoms in the polar regions.
And these diatoms, they live under the ice. So, if there wasn't any ice, there would be no diatoms and krill, and therefore the humpback whale would become extinct, I guess.
Oh yes, and not only the humpbacks, a lot of other Antarctic animals depend upon krill. Like even though leopard seals, for an example, we're going to move to leopard seals for a minute here. So leopard seals are notorious for feeding on penguins as well. But studies on the western side of the Antarctic Peninsula with leopard seals over the course of many summers show that 90% of the leopard seals' diet in summer months is based on krill, not on penguins. So a lot of other animals depend upon phytoplankton and krill on the base of the food chain in Antarctica, which is it is a rough environment, but also a very fragile balance. So if we create an imbalance with the base, then the whole pyramid will collapse.
That's right. Now, that almost happened several hundred years ago because whaling ships used to come down to Antarctica and all these gentle creatures were swimming around. And we can see behind us, we have actually a whale skull here.
We do.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about this whale skull? I understand this is the eye socket.
This is the eye socket, yes. So this is a broken whale skull. And on the back there, we have a skeleton that was put together. It's not a whale that washed up here. There were just bones of whales that have been processed here in the early and mid 1900s. So by the size of this eye socket, we can just imagine the size of the eye of this animal. Despite the size, super gentle, highly complex brain animals as well. On the back there's another full skull, and then you can see the top jawbone and the bottom jawbone, which in this case you can't quite see because it's broken. Most bones on that whale over there And very likely on this one as well, it would be either a blue whale, a juvenile blue whale, or a fin whale, which are the largest of all the whales.
Now, can I ask you another question? We had to protect these whales because we can't have them going extinct. So what happened? We were coming down here. Why were we catching humpbacks in the first place? What's attractive about catching a humpback?
Humpbacks were just one of the species that were hunted down here. Whaling in Antarctica started because whaling in the northern hemisphere wasn't going so well. The populations of different species of whales started becoming super depleted. So the first explorers that got to Antarctica and started reporting sights of whales down here called the attention of whaling companies from up north. So they did see the potential of whaling down here, and there were not many regulations at the time. So it was pretty much coming down here, take what you can, and not think of sustainability at all.
And what did we use the whale for?
Early days, oil a lot. The blubber was rendered into oil, and oil was used in machinery, especially during the World War II. So that was a big thing. But a lot of parts of the whale back in the day were also used. The meat and the oil was also used for cosmetics and medicinal industry and stuff like that as well.
I understand they were even used for candle wax.
Candle wax, yes, correct.
Wow, how shocking that such an amazing creature would be used for something as mundane as a candle.
Correct.
Now, this week, what we want you to do is have a look at the humpback whale in more detail. As you've seen, it's an amazing creature doing amazing things with a migratory pattern of up to 27,000 kilometers every single year, and that's pretty big. And what we want you to do is find another animal that migrates around the world. Maybe it's the Antarctic tern, maybe it's the Arctic tern, maybe it's a type of butterfly. Find out where it migrates to, where it travels around the world, and what happens when it's on that journey. Pia, it's been really amazing to have you. Thank you so much. See you next week.